Hi, welcome. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Today we are interviewing a first robotics coach and one of the WBMS Eye Center staff named Miss Cindy Carson or Coach Carson. How are you doing today?
Max, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are
You're
you?
welcome. I'm doing You're welcome. I'm doing good. What made you want to be a coach or join First Robotics?
Wow. So I've been with First Robotics in West Bloomfield for about 9 years. And the first team that I was helping out was a team at Roosevelt, which was a first Lego League Challenge team. And I've just always been interested as a teacher, right? Working with kids, helping kids to discover things that they're passionate about and can really take their time to learn and have fun and work with other people, collaborating. And so when I first found out about the first robotics teams, as I said, I was working at Roosevelt, and Roosevelt's a STEAM school, so our focus was science and technology and engineering and math. And it was just a great opportunity to work with some older kids because at the time I was teaching kindergarten. And so with the first Lego League Challenge, it's really in Michigan, we focus on our fourth and fifth graders. So it's geared toward those older students, and it gave me an opportunity to learn more about what they were doing with robotics.
How long have you been a coach or mentor for?
Yeah, so I want to say, like I said, it was about 9 years ago. Um, and it was through Mrs. Amy Quinn, who is also a teacher leader in our district. And we wanted to get our first team started over at Roosevelt. So there were some parents that had been coaching students through the community ed organization. And we were just trying to get a stronger connection between the school district and the programming with First. So that's when we decided to have more teachers come on board and get the program started.
What teams have you coached or mentored?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of them. So that first team that I helped out with was the Robotic Rumblers. And those students are now in high school. And I think they're getting ready to actually graduate soon. And then after that, my own son was a kindergarten student at Gretschko at the time. And we started the first Lego League junior program at that point. So he was on the Cobras team at that point. But there's been so many teams over the years. My youngest son, Cole, is now 10 years old. And his team this last year was called the Pink Fluffy Unicorns. So we have come up with some really creative names. Last year, there were 10 kids on the team for FLL Challenge. And there were kids from all over the district, and they came up with the DECA Dragons because there were 10 of them. So when we're coming up with team names every year, I encourage the kids to think about different things that they're passionate about outside of robotics, colors and animals and things like that. We also try to take a look at the theme of what's happening. This year, the theme is super powered. And so the Pink Fluffy Unicorns had nothing to do with that, but we had 5 FLL Challenge teams this year with our fourth and fifth graders. We had the Electric Eels, which kind of goes with that theme of super powered. And it's a lot of fun. We also had the Lego Pikachus. So that happened to be all girls team. And they came up with that name because they were into Pikachu, right? So it's really fun, and talk through that process with the kids and come up with a team name. That's one of the first things we do in the season. And so it's always fun to hear their ideas and encourage them to come up with something they can draw and something that they can associate with. And it really helps to have that team identity.
It was very fun to have you and your team come to our Bite of Robotics event. Thank you for joining and helping us with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great opportunity. We love to do outreach events where we can bring our programs to more people in the community and get them on board. I especially love working with our little ones. Right now, we're doing Lego League Discover with a group of kindergartners. So on Saturdays, I have 21 little kindergartners, which has been a lot of fun. And just to hear their ideas and excitement about what they've built before with Legos, and then to see what they're going to come up with over the next couple weeks. It's a lot of fun.
LakerBot is coming up.
Yes, it is. So LakerBot is going to be on April 15th at the West Bloomfield Middle School. And that program is really going to showcase all of our programs, K-12. The biggest part of the day is the showcase for the first, second, and third graders who are in FLL Explore. So they'll have an opportunity to meet with some of the administration who are the reviewers for the day, and the kids will present what they've come up with related to energy and maybe a problem that they want to solve or how they've powered their Lego build. And we have just a lot of fun that morning, allowing the kids to just talk with other people and share their learning and their journey along the way. We'll also have an area this year for our kindergarten students. So they're going to be showcasing what they've done during their camp time. We'll have our 4th and 5th grade challenge kids there, and your team from the middle school will be there along with the other two. Hopefully we can show off some of their robots, and it helps for the little kids to see where the vision of where things are going, right? So it gives us an opportunity to do that. And we'll have our high school students there with their robot, and they always love like shooting t-shirts and doing stuff like that. That gets everybody excited. So yeah, that's coming up on April 15th. We're really looking forward to that. And every year it just gets bigger and better. No, I wouldn't say there's a limit. We'll have different areas set up. So there will be the pit area where the kids will have their poster projects set up and their Lego builds. Of course, when they go in for their review session, that area is off limits to the public. That's just the team and the reviewers, and one or two coaches will go in at that point. We really like the kids to have that focus when they're presenting, so they don't have a lot of distractions, and then it really just allows them to shine, right? That they get to share everything that they've learned along the way, and it's more intimate. So that will take place in a separate room where we have our reviewers set up. But the pit area and the general public can come through there and check things out. And it's a great way for kids in the district or even other school districts to check it out. So if they're thinking about starting a program, they can see what's involved and what that might look like to have a showcase day.
Are you allowed to share who some of the reviewers are going to be?
We're still in the process of putting that list together. So typically we have our superintendent, our assistant superintendent, some of the principals and school board members. We don't have any kind of confirmed reviewers just yet, but we can look forward to seeing some of the important people.
If any staff would like to become a reviewer, how can they apply?
Sure, they could just email me or Mrs. Quinn. Amy Quinn would be a good contact person. We have a schedule where each reviewer would probably see about 5 teams throughout the morning. And it's about a 10-minute session where the kids, it's really quick. They come in, set up, they speak, and the reviewers can ask them a few questions, and then the next group comes in. So we've got it very well organized with our scheduling, and we're super excited to have it at the middle school this year.
Do you ever have anxiety while or before you are making a decision for the teams?
I think we all have some anxiety along the way, right? Different levels. The one thing we can't plan for is the weather, right? So here we are in March in Michigan, and we're home on a state. So that's one of the biggest fears, I guess, is we plan this big event, and then if we have to shut it down because of the weather or some other type of emergency, right? Because a lot of planning goes into it just to make everything run smoothly. Um, of course, we don't want anybody to get hurt. Safety is our number one concern. So, we try to space our activities out and make sure that there's adequate space so that people aren't bumping into each other and that sort of thing, that everybody's comfortable. And every year, like I said, we just make it bigger and better. We always love to have activities for the kids to do. So, we like to have a makerspace area. We've done that over the last couple of years. Typically, we'll bring in some kind of presenter to do like a little assembly that's related to whatever the theme is, or just related to science in general. And that kind of launches the morning, kicks it off. But last year, I think we had the high school robotics team show their robot, and Mr. Millart, Coach Buddy, he gave a little speech about what happens at the high school, so kids could look forward to that. So, I think working together as a team always makes that anxiety come down because it's not all on my shoulders. I work with Mrs. Frank. Andrea Frank at Community Ed is a huge help for us in just planning and organizing and taking care of a lot of the stuff that happens behind the scenes. So with her and Mrs. Quinn and Mr. Millart and Coach Chris, and then all the wonderful middle school and high school students that show up to help, everybody does their part. And, that's one of the great things about FIRST is we're all working on that common vision of making a great experience with science and technology and engineering and allowing our kids to have fun. That's one of our core values that we always try to come back to. Let's have some fun. We want everybody to just be excited and be the best they can be that day.
What is your favorite thing about robotics?
My favorite thing about watching the kids go through the journey from that first meeting, then to our competition day or to the showcase, is just watching the kids grow and build their confidence. I think that's one of my favorite things about the program. And I mean, look at you, Max. You started off as a kindergartner, first grader at Gretschko, and look at you now. You're doing these interviews, and I think it's really helped to build your confidence and maybe expose you to some things that you wouldn't have done otherwise, right? And so I think when I can see that, and I see our students come back and see where they're going, yeah, it's great to see the growth.
What is your least favorite thing about robotics?
Okay, my least favorite thing is all the parts and all the organization and all the stuff that goes along with it. It's tricky because, you take out a brand new kit and then you start building a robot, and which is great, but then another team comes along, and after that experience, you kind of have to take it apart or start from scratch, and just making sure we have all the parts and pieces. That's, I would have to say, my least favorite thing, because we've accumulated so much stuff over the years. It's a lot to manage, and somehow we always make sure we have what we need, right? But along the way, it's a lot to keep track of.
What is your least favorite thing about robotics?
That's tough. One of the challenges that we face every year is, where are we going to meet? Because we've had kids come together from all over the district, just having a dedicated space. And this year at Roosevelt, we do have a room for our kind of storage and our hub, I would say, for all of our elementary stuff, which has been amazing. And I just hope in the future, as we move forward with our program, that we will be able to keep that space. It's just great to have everything in one spot, and we know that that's where things are going to get back to after season's over. And it just gives us a big room that's dedicated only to the robotics stuff, all the Legos involved and all the, the mission mats and different display boards and things like that. It just gets to be a lot to store. And so if we can continue to have that space, I think we can jump over that hurdle and know that that we'll be in good shape. And like your team, for example, was practicing at the high school. And so that really gives you a nice place to see what the high school kids are doing, right? And have their assistance and just have that dedicated space for your team as well.
To see and understand what the next step is or get advice.
Right, absolutely. And I love that about First Robotics and all the people involved is we're always looking to make the program better. And the more minds and the more diversity that we have when we come together, we just have more ideas to draw from, and we can collaborate and take bits and pieces of everybody's idea and usually come up with a pretty good solution. So we've made it work. We've been in teachers' lounges. We've been in closets where we've stored stuff and worked in the hallways. It's something that has evolved really over the last 9-10 years. And I feel like we're in a pretty good place now that we got some good stuff happening and good leadership with good kids like you. So thank you for being there for us.
You're welcome. I would also like to thank the coaches and mentors, teachers, for all they do, Mr. Muller, for letting us use some of your space. It has been so nice to explore the program. I've learned so much from it.
Absolutely, because it's not, I think one of my favorite phrases is it's more than the robot, right? A lot of times when we think about robotics or we think about Lego League, everybody thinks about Legos. So I like to call it robotics because we are, with even our first, second, and third graders, using a little hub that we're programming through the WeDo and the iPad or a Chromebook. And we're starting off with basic like scratch block coding. And you don't know where it's going to take you because there's so many different areas to get involved with and utilize your creativity with planning presentations and outreach events and things like that. You really need a strong marketing team, and you need people that can help with the budget and people that have creative ideas in a lot of different areas, not just coding and robotics.
It was also cool to see all the elementary teams and what they're doing. I cannot wait to see the finished results of what they have done. What is the hardest thing about robotics?
Yeah, I think that's really awesome. I think one of the hardest things for me personally is not getting too caught up in it, right? The season comes fast and furious, and it really encompasses my life, right? After school hours, making sure that I'm communicating with parents and families and the students. And, I'd be there every night if I could, right? So this last year we did Thursday night practices and Saturday mornings, and that worked out better because the year before we did 2 evenings during the week. So it's just balancing that time. I think that's one of the challenges for me personally is just knowing when to let go a little bit.
What is the easiest thing about robotics?
I think one of the easiest things is getting the kids excited about it. Because I am very passionate about it, and I will do whatever I can to make it a positive experience for the kids and for the parent coaches involved. So I think, it was easy for me to say, hey, yeah, this is something really cool that I think we should bring to our district and make even better and provide accessibility, to a lot more students. And it's easy to say yes.
Do you have any advice to anyone who wants to be a first coach or mentor or join robotics?
Yeah, I think that parents definitely, this is an amazing group of kids, and I think that you just have to remember to trust yourself. That when I first got into this, I really didn't have any robotics experience. And a lot of times the kids are steering the ship, right? The kids know a lot more than we do and aren't afraid to take risks and figure things out. And so we just need some parents to come out that are willing to spend their time being a positive role model for the kids and helping kids to work together as a team, really. And we have some fabulous resources as far as what First puts out with all of their guidebooks and manuals and things like that, especially for the younger kids. That it really isn't something to be scared about. It's a lot of fun, and it can be very rewarding as well.
You don't have to know anything, you just learn along the way.
Happy this year too that at the middle school level as well, that so many more kids came out that weren't actually part of the program in their elementary years. So something piqued their interest, that they were trying to find, an after school activity or something extracurricular that might be of interest to them, maybe that's outside of athletics and or theater or band or that sort of thing. And I think there's something in this for everybody on a certain level. And so as far as kids go, I think it's something that you should try.
If a student would like to join a robotics team or a parent who would like to coach, how can they contact someone to get involved?
And so depending on what level they're at, I can always direct them to the right person. So I would say they could definitely email me. It's cindy.carson at wbsd.org. And they could definitely, just express an interest or, hey, I'd like to learn more. And then as our communications come out, it's typically through community ed, especially K through 8. And then I'm sure that Mr. Millart, Buddy at the high school, is sending stuff for high school kids to get involved. In the fall, we usually have a table or two representing us at the family night at the West Bloomfield High School. And so that's a good place to come and check things out and see what's going on. And of course, the Lake Robot Festival is coming up. So, but just to get more information, good idea to just send me an email and I can direct you in the right place.
What is your education?
So I have a master's degree in educational technology from Lawrence Tech and Marygrove College. That was a combined master's. And I also have a master's degree in the art of teaching. So I have 2 master's degrees. And then I have my Bachelor of Science from Western Michigan University in elementary education.
What is your career history and roles?
So I started off in West Bloomfield 26 years ago, and I started off as an elementary teacher at Roosevelt. So I've taught first grade, second grade there, and then spent some time, the majority of my career was spent at Doherty teaching third grade when Doherty was a K-5 school. After that, I taught kindergarten, and then I became a school media specialist. I worked at Scotch and Chico. I shared 2 buildings for about 6 years, and now I'm the media specialist at the middle school. So all of my career, I've been in education, and my whole career has been in West Bloomfield. So mainly K through 3 as a teacher, but now I'm a school librarian, and I love what I do.
We love what you do as well. What are highlights from when you started to now of each season?
Oh, wow. Well, I have to say one of the biggest highlights was going to the World Festival in Detroit. And that was a few years ago when we took a couple of our teams, FLL Explore teams that were there. And that was just an amazing experience to see kids from all over the world. And we loved It's so much that the following year we didn't have any teams there, but I took my two boys and we just attended the event and were able to be spectators. So going to the FTC competitions and the FRC competitions were a lot of fun. We went to the championship at Ford Field and were able to watch them. I think that year it was Clarkston Robotics walked away as a big winner. And it was just amazing to see kids representing their countries, though, and be a part of that. Just like, here we are in West Bloomfield as a little organization, but this really is a worldwide activity that kids in Japan and Mexico and Sweden and Germany and China. And it's just so cool to see that, through robotics and through working with Legos, kids are able to communicate and talk with each other, even if they don't speak the same language. So I think that's a major highlight that I remember.
Did you guys go to
Never
sites
forget.
this year?
Yes, we did. And that has been a highlight of, I think, of every year I've been involved. We've had at least one team that went to the state level, and that is where you see, the best of the best teams that have been recognized either for their project or for their robot or for their core values. And it's been amazing to see how the teams develop and then what they're passionate about shows at the competition. So the pink fluffy unicorns were highlighted for their project, which was great to see them go on and share that project with other teams and judges. And they focused on bringing more energy efficient devices to a ski resort. And so they did research on our local ski resort, Alpine Valley, and made a model of how they could incorporate some wind turbines that don't look like typical wind turbines. They were smaller and more compact and were more efficient for our environment and safe for animals and kids because there were no blades. Then they had some solar panels built in and stuff like that. So to see these ideas then come to life, of course, would be amazing, right? We'd love to see that happen in our near future. So I'm hoping that the impact that these kids, the impact that the program has made on them will encourage them in their future career choices as well.
I would like to thank you for joining. I would like to thank you for all you do. And thanks for the parents, coaches, mentors, teachers, to their dedication to the program and for creating an experience for everyone to enjoy. Have a great day.
Absolutely. I agree, 100%.
Have a great.
Thanks, Max. You too.
You're welcome.